Hi, I'm Elliot Danker from Money FM 89.3 and welcome to In the Hot Seat. Today we're talking to Jessica Beaton, General Manager from Dentsu X. Jessica, hello and welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You spent a lot of time in your career here in Asia, but originally, of course, you're from the United States. Which state in particular?
I'm originally from New York City.
Ah, lovely city. Do you remember what was your first ever job?
First job was actually in China for me.
Wow.
So I moved there almost immediately after uni. So I had connected with a mobile startup and I had sort of taken a lot of the skills that I developed sort of working during university. It was an incredible opportunity. Shanghai in 2006 was an incredible place where people had dreams, and if they had time and hands, they went and did it. And it was great to be a part of that.
Starting in the startup scene, now to an agency, quite an evolution in your career in the middle. Could you share some details of that evolution?
I've always worked in the space of content and trying to reach audiences. And coming into the agency space at the same time, but now I have all the toys.
Okay.
It's not just a single platform, it's so much about connecting with people wherever they are. My career is actually built sort of platform by platform on the idea of how do I converse with people and how do I talk with people in a meaningful way.
Straight out of university, going to China, halfway around the world, was language a problem? Was being a young American woman a problem? How did you deal with those challenges?
So I spoke really basic Mandarin. When I moved to Shanghai, I took some in university. China, they respect grit and they respect people who do. And it's never really been a judgmental place in terms of who are you? It's do you have an idea? Are you willing to work hard? And I think that's something I learned from the teams that I worked with and the teams that I ran all throughout my career. That I never want to be a leader by PowerPoint.
Sure.
That's not something, and my early career really set that direction. It's you earn people's respect by doing and accomplishing what you set out to as a team.
Earning respect, the best way to get equality in that sense as well, right?
Absolutely. And I learned by having great bosses and great leaders, and I learned by having people that were less so. And I think you take from every job and every role a bit more of what you want to be as a leader and in a job, and a bit more about what you know you don't.
Right.
And both are really positive learning experiences. I think every bit of that has led me to where I am today.
Now, without revealing your age, you're very young to be a general manager at Dentsu X. What's next for your career? Have you started thinking about that?
It's not necessarily about what the next role is, but what is the next challenge? How do we continue to run Dentsu X or an agency to the next step and the next evolution? Agencies are facing some really big headwinds in the global economy. And if we don't continue to push ourselves and our teams to really figure out what consumers need, then we're not going to be relevant.
As a woman in a leadership position, I have no doubt it's very challenging. But being in this position, how important do you think it is to give other women the same opportunities that you've had?
Gender is something that's been influential in my entire career. I worked with women's NGOs growing up. I studied development economics and gender in university. So the women and the institutions that we function in have been something that's always been a real interest to me. But overall, what I've also looked at is diversity in a wider sense. And the idea that we want diversity in sexuality, in gender, in background, in where people come from nationality-wise. And it's because it reflects the consumer base we're talking to, and it reflects what the future of the overall industry is. And we would be ridiculous if we didn't make that a priority inside the agency.
I'm gathering that you are a person with a lot of courage. Was there a piece of advice that you received perhaps very early in your career that has led you to be who you are today?
I've had the fortune of having a lot of great mentors throughout my career. I think one of the things that is actually how do we reward risk and failure?
Okay.
Because when you set up a system, even for yourself, where you look at a failure as the end, you're stopping yourself from growing, you're stopping yourself from trying. And the same thing in the agency. When I look at people and go, somebody failed, but that means they tried to do something good. And how do you take that as a learning and as a development? And that question is actually an incredible driver to organizational change and honestly future movement.
Let's do a fearless forecast. Where do you see, or how do you see the industry changing or evolving in, say, the next 5 years?
So the idea of being able to predict what is there in 5 years is kind of crazy. I do think that we are in the middle of a paradigm shift. We have a lot of new technology coming up, and that technology can be used for good, and it can be used to reach consumers in a really positive way, or it can take us down a Black Mirror episode. So it's not about saying that AI is going to take our jobs or big data is going to continue its rise, but it's a question of how we deploy and utilize it in a really smart, safe, and also effective way. So jobs in 5 years won't look like the jobs today, but that's a really great and exciting thing for most of us, as long as we're continuing to skill up and embrace that.
Hopefully they'll still need radio hosts like myself. But you've done just about everything in your career. If you were not a marketer, what would you be doing right now?
So I started my jobs as a freelance writer, and I think I would definitely, that would be part of it. I don't know if that would be the whole thing, but it's just such a great opportunity to engage people and to find interesting people and stories, and the joy of bringing those to life is something that I actually miss, and that outlet would be great.
Back to what you said at the start, people and content, really.
Absolutely.
Here we go, first one. Marketing trend that's so overdone.
Following marketing trends. Just the idea that people think in trends and not ecosystems, it's the bane of every agency existent.
All right, what excites you about your life right now?
A 4-day National Day weekend.
That is true, I can't wait for that one. Something people would be surprised to know about you.
I am also a health coach, and I was a yoga teacher in the last life.
Wow. Best film you've ever seen?
I like anything that blows up where good guys win.
Excellent stuff. One thing that you can't live without?
I go for 2 things, my husband and my flip-flops. Flip-flops indicate the weekend, and that's time to relax.
I thought you would have said tea or coffee, but okay. The hardest thing about your job?
Oh, never about hard. It's about what the next opportunity is.
Have fun with this one. If you could give yourself a hashtag, what would it be?
Sorry, not sorry.
Okay. What's the one superpower you wish you could have?
Creating 36 hours in a day, is that a superpower?
I think we might need a little bit more than 36 hours in a day. I know you're not a coffee drinker, you love tea, so if you could have tea with anyone in the world right now, who would it be?
Oh, definitely Pony Ma. I'm trying to figure out why Tencent hasn't taken over the world yet.
Well done, that was the lightning round. Well, that's it for our episode today. Thank you very much, Jessica, for being with us on the show. Stay tuned for our next hot seat. You can get the latest updates on SPH on imsph.sg. You can also subscribe to our newsletter, Immerse. Click on the link below. We will see you at our next episode.